it's Miss Kim in the children's room. Today I'm going to talk to you about shrink plastic, and I'm going to give you some hints and tips on how to make a keychain for Father's Day. Of course, you don't have to give it to a dad. You could give it to anybody else in your life, or you can even keep it for yourself. And I'm going to show you some of the other things that I've made with it, so if this is something that you had fun doing, you have an idea of what other projects that you can make. Okay, so your shrink plastic, you'll notice, has a rough side and a smooth side. The reason for that is if you want to use something like colored pencils, you're going to have to put them on the rough side because they need something to kind of grab onto. But you can use your permanent markers on either side. The other thing you could also use is permanent ink. So I actually took this one, and I had a rubber stamp, and I had some permanent ink. You can't use regular ink. Just like regular markers, it would wipe off. So you need that permanent product. And, you know, something like this, it's a lot easier to color it in while it's still large because, and I'm going to show you, here it is. So this is actually a finished version of this. And you can see all those little swirls and circles would be a lot harder to color in afterwards. So it makes it a lot easier to color it big and shrink it down. So your plastic is going to shrink, and that's a great example. It's about 1/3 of the size. And I actually have something else here to kind of give you an idea. So I have this elephant cut out. And after I decorated it and shrunk it, it turned out to be this size. And you can see this is very flimsy, whereas this is nice and hard now. It's a lot thicker. And it also lasts a little bit longer because it's a bit stronger. Okay. And your decorating you want to do before you shrink it. You can go afterwards and maybe add a little bit more color. So this is actually white plastic that I decorated and shrunk. And then afterwards I went back and I took a silver permanent marker and just went around the edges like this. So you can do things like that as well. But you want to do your decorating mostly beforehand. And you can make all sorts of little things. I made a charm bracelet with all these little birds. I did, let's see, what else do I have here? Oh, I also have another keychain, a cat that I did. And I also did this really fun robot. And this was actually a rubber stamp, the robot that I colored in. And I did a K for Kim. So lots of really fun things that you can do with this. Oh, and I'll show you this one too because it's one of my favorites. So I actually took pieces. You can see these are butterfly wings, okay, that I cut out and I traced, I cut out, and then I colored. And then after I shrunk them, I put them together using jump rings. So I had this cool little necklace that has a little bit of movement, which is really fun. So I thought I'd show you what it looks like when it shrinks. If you've never used shrink plastic before, it can actually be a little scary. After you decorate this beautiful piece, when you go to shrink it, it actually will like curl in on itself and you'll think, oh, I've ruined my project. But it's not the case. It will flatten back out again. So you are going to use a toaster oven or a regular oven, but I obviously don't have that at the children's room. So I'm going to be using a heat gun like this. This is different from a hairdryer. Don't use a hairdryer for craft projects. A hairdryer shoots air in all different directions, but this keeps the air, excuse me, concentrated at the end. So if you have a heat gun, you're more than welcome to use it, but I would definitely recommend using the toaster oven. And the directions as far as the temperature are on the piece of paper that came with your kit, and of course everybody's oven's a little different, so make sure you keep an eye on it because it happens really fast. But I did want to show you what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take one of these images and I'm just going to quickly color in just a little bit so you can see what it looks like when it shrinks. And one of the nice things too about this is you don't have to color perfectly before you shrink it, because when it shrinks you actually won't notice like if you went outside the lines a little bit or anything like that. So here's I just did the outside a little bit there. And just to kind of show you, this is actually the size it will wind up being. So this is another one I did. But like I said, I do want you to kind of see what this looks like when it shrinks. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to hold this up for you to see. And this is a little loud, I apologize. There you go. So at this point, if you see this, you're thinking, oh no, I've just ruined this. But keep watching. Okay, so very hot. Don't touch this when it comes right out of the oven because you will burn your fingers. All right, so I was pinching one end with my little pliers here, so it doesn't look perfect, but that's just to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. And you can see it's pretty flat now. I mean, you can take them out of the oven if it is not perfectly flat. You can take like a cup or a dish and press them down a little bit more, and then you'll get something that's a bit more like this. But that's the basic idea, and like I said, it takes a very little amount of time for it to actually shrink down, so you do want to keep an eye on it in your oven. You also want to use the parchment paper that I included. The reason for that is you don't want to ruin your cookie sheets. You don't want to not be able to make cookies. So this just stops, the parchment paper just stops it from sticking to your nice cookie sheets. So you could use that. But that's basically the idea. So you can go ahead afterwards, and I already pre-punched holes for you in your piece of plastic, which looks something more like this. You know, you can go ahead, like I said, you can decorate the edges if you want with markers, and then you can put your little jump ring in, and then it turns into a keychain like this. Or some of you might have had a different connector here, which is, you know, still great. Yeah, so those are the basics. If you have any questions, feel free, of course, to contact me at the library. If you want to come show me your creations, I'd absolutely love that. You have a week until Father's Day. And yeah, so I hope you'll be joining us for other really great programs this summer. Summer readings coming up where you're going to read books and get prizes. And we'll have a lot of fun programs at the library, a lot of animal programs since our theme is Tales and Tales. Yeah, so if there's anything I can do to assist you, please contact me. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to meet some of you, and I hope you're doing well. Bye.